Becky, the Biden administration very likely to look at more regulation for big tech in the future, but the question is when. Joining us right now on that is Sarah Fisher. She's media reporter at Axios. And Sarah, we know the Biden administration has a lot on its plate right now. Obviously, big tech in the focus, but I just wonder how far down the line that's going to be. What do you think?
Well, regulatory analysts don't see something passing, whether it's a Section 230 amendment or a national privacy law, in the first 2 years of this administration. And the reason being is there's still so much gridlock and there's still so much tension following everything that happened with the Trump administration. There's also some things that are a little bit more pressing. It's hard to believe that things would be more pressing, but it's true, including for the Biden administration turning around some of the Trump era moves that they think are really important. We've seen a bunch of executive orders, for example, in the past week. But what I would expect, Becky, is for Congress to tackle two big issues. As I mentioned, national privacy law is something I know is going to be talked about this cycle, as well as a Section 230 reform, although I think that's less likely to get put into concrete action.
Yeah, especially when you look at the troubles they're having just trying to figure out how much of a relief bill they're willing to pass right now. You know, things you can do on a bipartisan nature and things you can't do on a bipartisan nature are going to start piling up pretty quickly. Sarah, this morning we were just talking about how Twitter has removed the My Pillow guy forever from its platform at this point. We know about President Trump and the removal there. They are moving further and further down this road of admitting that they're not just a bulletin board. They are a publishing company at this point. There's also a new acquisition they came up with today, a company called Review. What does all of this tell you?
Well, it means that Twitter is leaning into its responsibility for the content that's on its platform. And what that means from a regulatory perspective is that it's going to put itself under the fire of conservatives on Capitol Hill. Every time Twitter, Facebook, or any of these platforms take action on somebody who is a far-right conservative or a Trump ally, conservatives come out and they decry censorship. That's going to make it a lot harder for, one, tech companies to get along with this new Congress, but two, quite honestly, for some new bill to pass. If conservatives are so highly focused on censorship and Democrats are so highly focused on content moderation, it's going to be hard for them to meet somewhere in the middle. And honestly, Becky, the real loser here is the American people and people around the world. We know that there's a lot of misinformation on these platforms. The tech companies themselves want to do something about it. Everyone wants it to get tackled. But this question of censorship is going to plague reform for a long time.
Wait a minute. You almost sound like there's a method to the madness here. You think these tech companies are intentionally pushing the conversation more so that it divides the Congress, or you just think they're doing what they think is right, and as a result, it's going to leave a more divided Congress?
The latter, exactly. They're doing what they think is right in order to make sure that there are safe platforms. But the problem is conservatives don't see it that way. They see it as them being censored. And anytime conservatives on Capitol Hill think they're being censored, they're going to come at the Section 230 law as something around censorship as opposed to thoughtful content moderation. And that's going to make it really hard for a bill to get passed.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.